Hello everyone, today I want to tell you about another famous French knight, Jean II Le Mangre, also known as Boucicaut. I mentioned him in the video about Agincourt, so let's know him better. He was born at August 28, 1366 and died June 21, 1421. I would say he was errant knight and a military leader, renowned for his military skills and embodiment of chivalry. He was even made a Marshal of France. He was the son of John I Le Mangre, also called Boucicaut, and likewise a Marshal of France, companion-at-arms to Bertrand de Duquesne. Jean II did not remember his father, as he died when he was just 1 year old, but he knew the words father told before he died. I haven't received from my ancestors no heritage, and didn't acquire anything myself too, but if my children will be virtuous and brave, that would be enough. King didn't abandon son of his loyal servant, and made him page at the court of King Charles VI. He took part in the campaign of Louis II, Duke of Bourbon in Normandy. With the outbreak of war with England in 1380, participated in the siege of fortresses of Montdignon and Libourne. In 1382, he distinguished himself in the Battle of Ryswick. For this, Louis II de Bourbon ordained Boucicaut knighted. In 1383, he began the first of his journeys that would take up more than 20 years of his life. In 1382 till 1384, he fought as a part of the troops of Teutonic Order against the pagan Lithuanians, who would convert to Roman Catholicism in 1386. After some campaigns against Moors in Spain and against Toulouse in France, he again accompanied the Duke of Bourbon, this time to Spain, which had become a secondary battlefield of the 100 Years' War, where he fought against the British, led by John Gaunt. From there he traveled for 2 years through the Balkans, the Near East, and the Holy Land, in the company of his friends Renard of Rayo, and later with Philip of Artois, Count of Eu. Jean was not only a good fighter, but he was a courteous to the ladies. He even wrote poems and ballads. And in 1399 he founded Emprise de l'Escu vers la Dame Blanche, the order of a white lady on a green field, for protection of noble love and unjustly deprived women. He and his companions composed the Livre de Saint Ballet, a poetical defense of a chaste knight, the central figure of chivalry. He was a fierce protector of the ladies. In the name of love, wrote Christian de Pizan, he became brave, generous, and exalted. Boucicaut thought that by honoring one lady, he honors them all, and that love awakens in the younger hearts attention to the noble chivalry courage. Johann Huizinga, in his work Autumn of the Middle Ages, found the description of some Jean's follower of his deeds. He woke up early and spent at least 3 hours praying, and nothing in the most urgent deeds couldn't interrupt him. He made pilgrimage to the local holy places each holiday and read a lot of books. Even when he became marshal, he was humble and foregoing. He always said that 2 things were created by the God's will, which like 2 pinnacles should maintain the laws of God and man. Without them humanity would turn into chaos. These are chivalry and scholarship, combining for the good together. Johann Huizinga asks in his book how far was Boucicaut from the poetical twin, as undoubtedly the same scenes were integral for the nobility of the time, like greed for example. And defeats and misfortune would surely stop him to see the world through rose-colored glasses. But to the surprise of Johann Huizinga, he found no traces of that, and no dreadful events and defeats turned Boucicaut from the way of old-fashioned chivalry. In 1390, while the Truce of Louvain had temporarily interrupted the war with England, Boucicaut and 2 other French knights set up the tournament of Saint-Ingever, where he jousted along with 2 comrades against the redoubtable English knight. I want to tell this story in more details. The story began when 3 friends, Jean II Le Mangre, Renard of Raw, and Lord de Saint-Pie, received from the King Charles VI, who was young and not yet mad, to challenge English knights on this tournament. This tournament has been proclaimed in many countries, but especially in England, where it had caused much surprise, and excited several knights and squires who were fond of adventures and deeds of arms to confer on the subject. Some said they would be blameworthy if they didn't cross the sea when the distance was so short to Calais, pay a visit to these knights and till them. At the beginning of a charming month of May, the three before-mentioned young French knights were fully prepared to maintain their challenge in the list of Saint-Inglever. On their arrival, they learned that numbers of English knights and squires were come to Calais, and gave them much pleasure, and to hasten the business, and that news would be carried to the English, they ordered 3 rich, vermilion-colored pavilions to be pitched near the appointed place for the list. The duel started from 21st of May till 24th of May. Trio knights managed to dismount 39 opponents. English knights was absolutely surprised, and after 21st of May nobody dared to challenge them until the middle of June, as at stake was not just life and honor, but expensive armor too. But the victors were very noble. First of all, they returned all armor and weapons they received, and second, they treated defeated knights graciously during and after the fights, and even gave them some presents when leaving. But that paid off for them anyway. They gained glory, so much fame that the weapons they were used were placed in Boulogne Cathedral, and the king was so happy he gave them 6,000 golden francs, high sum for this time. Same year, in 1390, Jean II Lemaître was appointed a chamberlain to the king. In 1391, he again went to Prussia, where he fought against Polish King Jagiello. Because of his great service in this war against Heathens of Lithuania and Prussia, he was named Marshal of France on December 25, 1391 by Charles VI at the Cathedral of Saint-Martin of Tours. By order of the king, he destroyed the fortress of Ader-Rimbaud in Périgueux. When he intervened in quarrel between the owners of Périgueux province and the Pope. In the end, thanks to the marriage of Boucicaut with a representative of Turan family, they managed to resolve the conflict. In 1396, he took part in the joint French-Hungarian crusade against the Ottoman Empire, which suffered a heavy defeat on September 28 at the Battle of Nicopolis. He was taken hostage by Ottoman Sultan Bayezid I, but unlike many of his companions, he escaped execution and was eventually ransomed. They said Sultan Bayezid I taunted knights, crying to their faces, "Come back, and you can fight my army once again." Boucicaut didn't forget that, and he returned. In the same year, he was sent with 6 ships carrying 1,200 men to assist Byzantine Emperor Manuel II Plantagenet against the Ottomans. Bayezid I was not very happy to see these forces, as he lost all of his fleet near Gallipoli, lifting many years siege of Constantinople. After returning, Boucicaut helped Antonia Adorno, daughter of Genoa, in the fight against Jean Galeazzo Visconti, Duke of Milan. In 1401, due to his military accomplishments and his knowledge of the East, he was appointed French governor of Genoa, which had fallen to Charles VI in 1396. He successfully repelled an attack from Kildianos of Cyprus, who tried to take back the city of Famagusta on Cyprus, which had been captured by Genoa. On his return, he was defeated by the Venetians at the Battle of Modon on October 2, 1403. After some struggles in the Mediterranean, Genoese freed themselves from French rule by 1409. In 1409, he returned to France. In 1313, after the death of his father-in-law, Visconti Turenne inherited. With the outbreak of war with England, he returned to Paris. In 1315, he led the vanguard of the French army. Contrary to his wife Karl d'Ambray, began the Battle of Agincourt, in which France was defeated and Boucicaut was captured. Boucicaut died in June 21, 1421 in Yorkshire, England. Well, that's it for today. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you liked the story. Like it if you do, subscribe if you don't want to miss more. Thank you very much. Bye bye.